Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be working on our Excelsior motorized bike here. So in last video, you may have noticed that this frame turned out pretty well. I'm super satisfied with the finish onto it. And we're just going to be doing basically a full run through. Like I said, I've done many custom bikes, but I'll say it again, I've never generally recorded the whole process. I'll take pictures, but I don't really, post it on YouTube because I'll be honest with you, going out of your way to film everything can be a bit of a pain. So, but I don't mind doing it for you guys now because, it doesn't hurt to show the process, and if it teaches you something, then it's definitely worth it. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. So something I forgot to mention last video is the fact that these tires could like bond to the rim prematurely. So what you want to do is right before the stuff cures up fully is just go ahead and break down the rim and make sure that tire isn't stuck to the bead. I should have mentioned this last time, but I just wanted to throw it out there. Okay, so I got the wheels kind of mocked up in the frame, and so far it looks pretty good. But one thing I really didn't account for was this is a mountain bike rear wheel, and yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm going to have to come up with something there to take up for the space difference, but it is what it is. So with our back wheel here to fix the issue, what I'm going to have to do is unscrew this axle, and we're just going to take the nuts off the front wheel, and we're just going to install them onto the rear axle to hopefully give us a little bit more clearance. Okay, so I'm just getting this little nut here screwed in onto the axle. As you guys know, you want to make sure that it still rolls freely. So luckily enough, this is the only spot in the tire where when breaking the bead down, unfortunately it took some of the flex seal off. So what I'm going to do is spray some of this into the cap, and then we're going to try and attempt to brush some of it back on and hopefully clean up this edge a little bit so it doesn't peel anymore. Alright, so next up is our seat mod, and I'll be quite honest with you, there's not a whole lot to it. You can do it two ways. You can either cut down here, because the way the Hyper seat post is designed, it does bend right here, so when you cut it, it allows you to slam it lower. Or you could cut it up here and achieve the same goal. I'm probably going to go with this one. So we got our seat post cut. Let's install it onto the bike. Now to give that even cooler look, you'll notice how it's quite slanted normally. We're going to slant it up like that to give it that low rider look. There we go. That's looking a whole lot better. From here on out, we're just going to do some little things like get the clamp back on, get our lug nuts installed, and then we're going to move on to the handlebars. A nice little touch that a lot of people don't pay attention to is some rusted nuts and bolts and things like that. So I'm just going to use some black paint and quickly touch that up. Another little test you can do is you want to pick up the bike a little bit off the ground like this. Just give it a good slam. You just want to make sure you don't hear any like loose bearings or anything. Give the wheels a good shake. Make sure everything's nice and solid. Your headset, all that good stuff, and this thing's good to go. Okay, so we're just going to loosen our stem bolt all the way up. Get this reflector out of the way and cut these zip ties. Once you do that, just feed this through, pull that right off, and there's our stem. So it's a new day. I got my electric tin snips here, and we're going to be attempting to make some side panels. Most of my normal side panels I do on my bikes extend to about here and then wrap here. We're going to attempt to do something that connects the two bars, so I think it'll be definitely unique. So the way that I've always done my side panels is I've just used a cereal box or whatever, something really thin, and kind of made my cardboard template. And then I use some very small self-tappers into the frame. If you don't want to do that, you could use some kind of clamp system. Whatever you choose to go with, just make sure it's solid. So what you want to do here is with the seat tube part of things, you need to measure the thickness here, because when we apply it to this cardboard panel, we want it so that we can still screw this thing down. If I just cut the actual template out, it's not gonna have enough room. So I'm guessing it's around 1.5 inch pipe. So then we'll just measure that along here. So this right here looks pretty good to me. If you notice here, there's a little bit of a gap. And the reason I had to do that is because the crank's here. You don't want to catch your pant leg on this or something. So we're just going to keep it pretty basic, but looks good. All right, so we got our corners rounded. So now we're going to transfer this onto the metal. So to answer your guys' question with the holes in the frame, I've never had anything crack, I've never had anything break, and you're putting a solid screw back into the hole, so it's not like it's just empty, so rust can't build up and, you know, whatever. It doesn't become weak because this is also in here supporting it, so. Finally, we got our holes drilled for this side, so now we're going to move on to the fun part, and that's sanding these panels and doing the graphics. Just gonna install the stem here. Slide these bars through without scratching the shit out of them. So, it goes like that. Yeah, not too bad. We got a little scratch there, but we can easily touch that up. This is what I settled on. So we have the stem at medium height with the bars about level. So we're going to be reusing our cardboard mold again. So you'll notice this is exactly the same as these two, right? So what we're going to do is measure. It really depends what you're trying to do. I'm going to be adding a pinstripe, so I want sufficient clearance, but you're just going to measure like a consistent amount around the edge. I'll probably do 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll cut that off the cardboard template, mark it onto our vinyl, and then make this all happen. So to make this process as easy as possible, I'm going to be using a squeegee with some like soapy water. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to center up our vinyl, start from the middle and work our way out, and we're going to slowly but surely flatten it out without hopefully creating many air bubbles. Do I realize this vinyl is wrinkly as hell? Yes, but we're still going to try and use it to the best of our ability. Okay, just to mimic the real thing, what we're going to do is add these little strips of vinyl to the fork. Now what I like to do with these builds, a lot of people don't notice, but it complements it well, is anything that you're just sticking on a bike, you want to just haphazardly stick on. What you want to do is kind of align, let's say that you want to do it with the white wall, you want to get parallel with that there, and then you can just simply, you know, strip it down there. So I'm just going to use this paint is dry, I'm just going to use my soapy water. Don't be afraid to soak it to what you can do. And don't mind my dirty hands. This is what happens when you work on bikes. And you notice as I'm pushing, I'm pulling the direction I want to go. Look at that. Not too bad. So we'll try to get the soap out of there. We'll use the heat gun, and then we'll get our vinyl around that with the pinstripe, and I think that'll look pretty solid. Well guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. I unfortunately have to work tomorrow morning super early, so this is as much as I could have got done. I don't think it's too shabby. I mean, I'm slowly but surely getting the bike built, and if I want to do quality work, then I have to take my time. Expect in part 4 to hopefully have the engine kit, and I may do something here. Like, we might do a little special something there with the panel, but it's hard to say. Also, I was going to incorporate some racks maybe, but we'll see what we can come up with there. And also we might change the seat. But regardless of all that stuff, I'm just going to call it there. If you guys learned something in today's video, let me know down in the comments below. And thanks for watching.